Now, you might be asking yourself, what the heck does pressure washing the Sprinter van have to do with learning about international travel? Well, if you remember last week's video, I told you guys I would be sharing information about my recent 2-week trip to South Africa. Now, the thing is, I've actually been out of the country again since then. I just got back from a week trip in Canada, and I am a little behind on producing content for the channel at the moment. Now, since I had to clean up the van from a recent rental it just returned from, I decided to go ahead and kill 2 birds with 1 stone and clean the van while telling you guys about 5 things that I learned that helped me when traveling internationally for the first time with camera gear.
Okay, so you probably didn't take you long to realize that that footage is actually probably old. In that video I'm wearing sweats, and it's May, end of May right now, recording this, so it's actually beautiful out here. I don't need to wear sweats. Now, I was gonna go ahead and record myself cleaning the whole van again, but all of my cleaning material is buried right now because we've been doing some remodeling in the shop and I haven't had a chance to unpack it again. Instead of lugging around and recording myself doing all that, I decided to be lazy and just use footage that I haven't been able to use to this point. So when I thought I was never going to be able to use it. All of the footage of me cleaning the outside of the van is going to be older. But that's not why we're here. I'm not here to show you guys and talk to you guys about cleaning the van. It is all completely full transparency, just a way to make the videos more entertaining and not just so much of me talking to the camera. So the first thing that I did, and I referenced this in the last video, that really helped me out was I researched my airliner thoroughly, and this really helped me in terms of figuring out the amount of gear I could take, how that was going to look when traveling, and so that I was able to secure everything I needed and be able to have no issues. So definitely take time. If it's the first time you're traveling international, you might be flying an airliner that you're familiar with, because some of the airliners, they travel international as well. I flew for the first time with Virgin Atlantic, so I wanted to make sure that I did thorough research because I didn't want any surprises. It was extra important for me to research because we bought the cheapest ticket that we could possibly buy. And when you buy the cheapest ticket, you don't always get the most perks. So we were actually only allowed 1 bag, 1 carry-on, and 1 personal item like you normally would get. Now, actually, I take that back. We were not allowed 1 bag. We were going to have to pay for the bag, but they ended up not charging us, so it worked out. But as I started researching more, I realized that we were going to get assigned our seats at the check-in or at the gate. And that really made me nervous. So I knew we were already going to be in the back of the plane, and if we were the last people to be seated, I may not get overhead storage, and I was carrying a lot of camera gear with me, and which I referenced again last week. That's how I knew which camera bag to buy and all that. If you guys haven't watched that, you can click right up here and you can give that a watch. So what I did is I went ahead and actually bought our a seat assignment for us, and this was actually helpful. It helped us get exit row seats, so we had we were able to stretch our legs out and everything. And if I didn't do that, I could have very well been stuck not being able to bring my camera equipment with me. Now, all of my batteries, my lithium batteries, would have had to come with me, but it would have gone just in my backpack. I'm just talking about my actual camera bodies and all that. And for some people, it's not the end of the world. I had an AirTag in the bag, so I'll be able to track it if anything happened, and I had a bunch of insurances, but still, I want my gear with me. And so by doing a little bit of more extra research, I was able to guarantee that I could keep my gear with me. It's officially iced coffee and cold brew season. It's a great time. So after you research your airliner and everything and you figure out, max size, a lot of them are the same, but again, do your due diligence in terms of the ticket you buy and all that, like I mentioned earlier. But the next step is making sure that you can secure your gear. And that is why I chose that ThinkTake bag that I talked about last week in my What's in the Bag video. Just the fact that I could lock the main compartment of that bag. Now, it's not going to keep somebody out if they really want to get in there, but the extra step is usually going to deter people from breaking into your bag. Now, the next step for securing your gear, though, is also kind of a mindset. Like I mentioned, sometimes people try to take your gear from you when you're traveling. Now, you can usually get away with just saying, hey, there's a bunch of lithium-ion batteries down in this bag. It can't go underneath the airplane, because it actually can't. Now, sometimes they push and they push, especially if you have more bags, and that is why I adopted a method. It's actually not my method. I got it from Mark Denny. I will link the video down below. But come up with ways that you can easily get important mission critical gear out of the bag and into another secure place when you're traveling. Now, you're not going to be able to keep your camera bodies unless you have room in your backpack to throw a camera body in and you don't mind doing that, and a lens. But what I'm saying is all your memory and your batteries and things like that, that doesn't matter if you get to the other side, and a charger actually, it doesn't matter if you get to the other side without that, you're not going to be able to take pictures. So make sure you have all that in a place that if you need to be able to grab it, you can, and that you're ready to go. Because the worst thing is paying all that money to go all that distance just to get over there and not be able to take a single picture. Now, that is the beauty of smartphones. Like, I'm actually recording this on my phone right now because I'm actually charging up some gear right now, and it just made it easier for the phone workflow right now than using my camera. You can take good pictures and video if you know what you're doing, and so there's always that. The main thing is get yourself a good bag that you're comfortable and securing your gear with, and develop a system that way you're staying organized and you know where everything is, and if push comes to shove, you're able to keep your gear in a secure place. Now, like I said, this van actually just came back from a rental on outdoorsy.com. I've been using them now. This is about the 7th or 8th time this has been rented out. If you guys are curious about that program, that process, drop some comments down below and some questions you might have. I'm thinking of doing a review of it, but spoiler alert, it's been awesome. It's been amazing. Every person I've gotten has been quality, and that is thanks to their vetting process. So if you guys want a review, I'm not sponsored or anything by them. I guess the only thing I do is I do make money from the platform because I rent out my personal asset. So the next thing comes to actually packing your gear. Like you guys saw in my video, I took a lot of equipment, but I made sure to only pack what I needed overall. So it'd been easy for me to want to bring a bunch of other gear that I didn't even bring, because I knew what I was going to be doing and what would be presented to me. So I packed the essentials. I ended up bringing one drone out, but I didn't bring an FPV drone because I knew I was going to, I probably would never fly any of the drones. And that was the case. I flew once, but it wasn't for video or of any purpose. It was to check something out for the property we were staying on. So do your research, understand why, what you're going to be presented with, and only bring what you need. A lot of times we like to overcomplicate things by bringing way too much crap. I'm like not joking at all. I don't even know if they use this. It's so clean. It makes my life a lot easier. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk to you guys about, this is definitely more photography specific, and honestly, doesn't matter where you're traveling, it's a habit you should get into, is constantly be backing up your work. Now, I was out there for 2 weeks. It wasn't a bunch of photography and video, but I still was actively backing up my work. And when I got home, I actually had a big scare. And the reason is I actually didn't follow my backup strategy. I typically carry an SSD with me that I back all my photos up to, and I avoid formatting cards at all costs until I get back home. Now, I rented a bunch of camera gear. I also rented a couple extra cards because the cards that my camera take is just stupid expensive. So I only have a certain amount, and if I need more, I just rent them. So I got home. I actually did not offload those photos onto the SSD, but I did put them straight onto my computer. The next morning, I sent out all of the rental gear, and some glitch happened on my computer. I don't know. I still don't know really what happened, but all of those photos and videos were deleted off my computer. So I freaked out. I got a hold of the people that I rented from, which is Lens Rentals, and I was like, hey, I didn't format that card. Please just send it back. I'll rent it, whatever. I need all of the footage off of that card. They got back to me. They were going to get it back. But in the meantime, I realized that, hey, I have my cloud backup solution going at all times. So I went into my cloud, and sure enough, all of those photos and videos were in my cloud backup. Moral of the story, have redundancies, back up your footage. Again, it's a very expensive trip to go on to just lose everything. And I was super jet lagged, so I wasn't paying attention, but because I have good systems in place, I was able to save a bunch of really good photos, actually. Most of the photos from the trip that were worth sharing to you guys. The online solution I use is called Backblaze. They're constantly running in the background. I pay a subscription fee to them. That's what I use, and they save my butt. So come up with good redundancy programs and make sure you're backing up your footage all the times so you're not screwed. So the last bit I want to talk to you guys about is check the local laws before you go, especially if you're bringing a drone. Make sure you understand what the drone laws are so that you're not getting yourself in any trouble. So make sure you do a lot of research beforehand so you understand what your drone laws are going to be, what people's personal rights are. You don't want to be out filming and, that's not something you can do. You don't want to be taking pictures of things. So for example, one of the laws that I didn't know about, but until we got out there is when we went to some of the children's refuges that we went to, South Africa actually very much protects the images and likenesses of their children. They don't want people profiting off of their children, right? So any photo I post or share with anybody, I can't show faces of the children. Now, if I just posted that online, not knowing that, I could actually get in a lot of trouble. So don't get yourself into trouble just by assuming. Make sure you ask questions, make sure you do your research, and don't get yourself into trouble. But other than that, traveling internationally, do it. It was my first time doing this intensive an international travel, and it was awesome. And I can't wait to go again, which I'm actually packing right now because I go to Canada tomorrow morning. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video right here. This is something different, walking around, kind of doing different shots, mostly just because I can't really get my thoughts straightened. So if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this, then please consider hitting the subscribe button. This is something a little bit more different that I do. I typically post videos, like I said earlier, about my outdoor adventures and travel. So if you enjoy that kind of stuff, then hit that subscribe button. I will be doing some more videos for you guys about Africa and my Canada trip and all that when I get back and start planning getting that van back out in the wild again. So I will see you guys next week.